What's up, YouTube? Wayne here with part 2 for you. So, where did I leave off? Oh yeah, he's playing video games, right? Clark's son's playing video games, and he basically says Superman is lame. This, the whole time, like I was saying, they don't know, the sons don't know who their dad is. He's just always disappearing, going on, how you say, journalist trips. That's what he's doing. He's going all the way around the world because he's a journalist and he's the best journalist. And no, but his wife is actually the one who wins the Pulitzer Prize and is the top journalist. So I don't get the relativity there, but that's what they're telling. I told you, man, these costume people and putting on glasses, it's just so weird. But if we fast forward a little bit later, they figured out that the nuclear power plant that was melting down, excuse me, the nuclear power plant that was melting down was having issues, and it was like the third one that happened. So Clark is having this good discussion with his father-in-law about how this keeps happening, things like that. And the fact of the matter is, you know, his father-in-law is always telling him, you know, Superman and Clark don't get to be separate people. They don't get to be two different entities. When Superman needs to save the people, Superman needs to save the people. And so Clark is always neglecting, and he's dealing with all these family issues. And like I said before, that he got a call from his mom. Spoiler here right now. She called him, and then she ended up calling him again, and he missed the call. Well, bad news is that Martha passed away. So they have to all go back to Smallville and do the funeral and the funeral proceedings, and Superman has this touching moment where he's like crying, you know, like superhero bawling. But you know, something like that. But they're just all having this family moment, and Clark's son really doesn't like him, and so Lana Lang comes to the funeral. If you guys know who Superman is, or if you watch the Smallville series, you know who Superman's first love interest is. It's Lana. Lana from where? Smallville? Where he came from? Where? Kansas. Oh my goodness. And Lana's married, she has kids, and her husband comes, and they're having a discussion, but you can feel there's a little bit of tension between Clark and Lana's husband there, which they don't really touch on later on in the video, because I think he's a firefighter, and we'll get to that later. So they don't really touch about them having tension. And Lana's youngest daughter, I think her name is Sophie in the show, played by Jocelyn Picard, like John Picard, but whatever. So she's like, you know, telling stories like, Daddy doesn't really like you talking to Clark because you used to date him. I mean, and they're just creating all this tension. I'm telling you, the kid actors in the show, A1. And so after the funeral proceedings happen, I'm kind of, you know, skipping through a lot of stuff. There's a bunch of filler in there, of course. And after the funeral proceedings, you find out that all this time, Clark's mom has been like saving every farm in the community. She's taken out these loans, and there's an issue with the bank and the loans. You have to watch the episode to get like fully into it, because I'm trying to get to the good stuff for you, the really good stuff. And so you cut from the adults talking to back to the kids and the teenagers, and for some reason, Lana's oldest daughter, who is Sarah, is attracted to Jordan, the socially awkward boy, and she sits there and is being all cutesy, lovey-dovey with him and stuff like that, like telling him stories, and they really hit it off, and they have really good chemistry in this series. I hope they take it further, like a Lana and Clark type situation, you know, what should have been or what could have been. So they go, and it's like, my dad always tells us to stay out the barn. So she was like, why? Because I guess it's dangerous or something. So they go to the barn, right? And they're talking, they're being teenagers, and they're playing with stuff, and a bunch of bars fall on top of Bobby, and on top of Jordan, right? And Jonathan jumps in, being a hero, because we all think he has powers, and saves Jordan. He covers him up, and the things fall on him, but there's no scratches on either of the kids. Clark comes in, super speed, throwing stuff out the way. Nobody's paying attention to it. There's a bunch of people outside. Nobody's paying attention to it. Once again, comic book story, right? So nobody's paying attention to it, and they only have like mild concussions or mild problems, but there's no scratches, no bruises, no nothing. So we're gonna fast forward a little bit more, and there was another nuclear power plant, and it ended up they're gonna have issues, and so Clark and his father-in-law are talking, and it's like, dude, I think we can kind of guess where the next one's gonna be, and they show this dude from video camera footage, and it freaking looks like Master Chief from the Halo series. I mean, if you look at this armor, I'm telling you, Master Chief is the person in this armor. And we don't know who he is. He has issues with Clark. He knows everything about him. And so they fast back forward to the kids and this kids dialogue and everything like that. And you're like, okay, what's going on with the kids? What's figuring out why? The sons, Jordan and Jonathan, have an issue with why they didn't get injured. So they go and explore the farmhouse. And if we know Superman, I'm gonna just spoil this right here. Superman's ship is buried in the farmhouse. It's in the bottom of the farmhouse. It's always been there. Every iteration of the comics, every iteration of the show, it's underneath the farmhouse. That's where his ship that he came to Earth in is. So they go, they find the ship, and Jordan is able to pull the crystal out of the ship. Jonathan doesn't even really try, but Jordan pulls the crystal out of the ship, and it's pretty cool how it happens, because the ship like sands away, like it's like an hourglass or sand, and he puts his hand in there, and they go and confront their dad. Wow. They go and confront him, and he's like, you didn't want to come here, you didn't want to tell us about, because still don't get that he's Superman, right? They know that, like, everybody in the world knows that that Kal-El and Superman are the same people. They don't know Clark, Kal-El, and Superman are the same people. But Kal-El and Superman are the same people. So the whole world knows this, right? And say they don't put two and two together. And he goes and like, you just didn't want to tell me the spaceship. This is why you don't want to tell me anything. You've been lying to me. And he's like, there's a spaceship because that's the ship that I came in as a baby. Boom, bomb, dropped right on both kids because they confront him, they talk to him, and he's like, what? And so Clark kind of, tells him his backstory, why he came here, how Jonathan and Martha took care of him and raised him to be the hero that he was supposed to be. And what happens? Jordan fully, just feels totally betrayed, runs off, hates his dad. Jonathan's like, and because in the conversation, Clark and Lois hint at Jonathan having the powers because they thought he saved his son, saved both of them because he jumped in. He really did try to save everybody. And so they go off, and Clark, oh my goodness, Clark goes and fights the dude in the Halo suit. So they're fighting. The dude can fly, like he's being all green. He tells Clark about his life. They're fighting at the speed of sound, right? And he's like, the craziest line he says, he's like, I came to this world, my world was destroyed, and you know what I found out? There was another you in this world. So they're hinting at him coming from another multiverse of, Smallville, DC Comics, not the, I'm not gonna spoil that right now, but not the person that he is right then and there. And they fight, and they're fighting. So they cut back to the kids. The kids go to a bonfire, like a high school bonfire, and they're partying and having a good time with Lana's daughter and Jordan. Jordan and Lana's daughter are like clicking, like like they're about to be a couple, like a thing. But Lana ended up having a boyfriend, right? So that's because he ends up kissing Lana's daughter, and that starts a big fight. Everybody's brawling, and the kids are getting their butts whooped. Bobby and Jordan and Jonathan are getting. Jonathan and Jordan are getting their butts whooped, like getting it taken to them, right? But Jordan starts seeing Jonathan getting like totally destroyed because he throws the first punch because the guy's picking, like Lana's daughter's boyfriend is picking on him, and he sees it and he starts getting angry. They cut back to the Superman and them to fight, which is completely irrelevant because we've seen Superman fight 100,000 times. What's relevant is who he's fighting, right? So let's get back to the kids and tell the story of the kids. And Jonathan's getting his butt whooped, and Jordan's eyes started glowing red. So the whole time, it wasn't Jonathan with the powers, even though he was the all-star athlete, and his dad thought that he was worthless. Basically, Clark thought he was worthless because he's like, my other son has the powers, right? Because he's thinking like he could be an athlete, this, that, and the other. He's using his powers to become this good. Nope. It's the son with the social issues. It's the son that doesn't fit in. But that's fitting because Superman doesn't fit in. He's from Krypton. He doesn't fit in with us. He doesn't have the same issues we go through. So for him to be the total outcast is perfect writing. That I'm surprised. I usually guess things at the beginning, but I was so entranced in the story and the storytelling, I didn't even get to it. And so they cut back to the scene in the barn. And even though Jonathan jumped on top of Jordan and tried to save him, Jordan sees the stuff falling in Superman slow-mo and turns over Jonathan and gets on top of him. Oh my goodness. And saves the both of them. So he knew he had powers from the beginning. He knew it. He was playing them. Because he was like, dude, you guys are not telling me things. You're telling me I don't fit in. You're not telling me this, but I'm the only other son that has the Kryptonian gifts. Okay. That's slow down. All right. Okay. So, go back to the Superman. Go back to the fight with Superman and this strange Master Chief dude, right? And the Master Chief dude, of course, has kryptonite. He stabs Superman in the chest. Superman starts falling to Earth, but Lois is dealing with the children, and she gets the call that, the kids are hurt and stuff like that. And she's like, come home to me, Clark, come home to me. And he hears that with his super hearing. And as he's about to die, fall out of the atmosphere, because they've been fighting on the upper atmosphere of the Earth and everything like that. And as he's fighting, they fall down, and he's like, I gotta save my family. He takes it out, and he like Mission Impossible falls on in front of a car in like Taiwan or Japan or something like that. I don't know where they were at, and he gets there and he goes right to where the bonfire is, lands behind a bus, comes back in civilian clothes because he had the Superman costume on when he was fighting the supervillain, of course. And oh my goodness, talk about worried about his kids. You could just see the face. You could see the pain and the anguish. I have 4 kids. I saw that. Like when my kids suffer and things like that, I saw that in his face. And he's like, oh. And they take the kids, take them home, and Jordan tells them all that he has the gifts and the powers. Oh, talk about, you think it's the climax of the episode. It's like, what more can the episode give us? What more can this great first episode, I hope they continue in this trend, give us? But that's not it. That's not all. Super spoiler right here. The dude in the Halo suit, the Master Chief dude, is friggin' Lex Luthor from another universe. So he knows everything about Clark. He knows how to hurt him. He knows how to affect him. But he's running out of kryptonite. And he's like, he's talking to like this AI thing, running out of kryptonite. I mean, oh goodness. Guys, like and subscribe if you want to hear me break down more episodes and stuff like that. Thank you so much. I love this series. Go out and watch it. And see you next time.